Hi, hello everybody. So, today I really wanted to just give like a sort of explanation and overview on why the day one raid was so difficult for so many people. As a lot of you probably tuned in and saw the live stream yesterday, and by the way, I want to say thank you all for so much support during that. I had so many viewers and I gained so many subscribers from it. It helped grow my channel so much. But I was doing it for quite a while. It was 14 hours. I actually went past the VOD time limit for YouTube. So the last attempts weren't actually recorded on YouTube's, but I'm going to be honest, they weren't really that outstanding. Well, me and my team didn't get our clears, but I'd say that was more so due to IRL obligations. The real raid boss of Destiny and gaming in general. We lost most of our team members after a few hours, and we tried to recover, and we even pulled some people from chat, and honestly, huge shout out to everybody who stepped up and had the balls to join like that. And we had some really good attempts, and we tried our absolute hardest, but unfortunately, we weren't able to stack enough of an advantage or play consistently enough with our different team compositions in order to get the run that was necessary in order to clear with those immense restrictions. And I'd say that was probably the experience for a lot of people who tried Isakis day one. Probably not for Insomnia. Insomnia is just... to be honest, I have nothing but respect for them. They are the most dedicated players in this game. They've clearly spent so much time not just playing it, but also strategizing and cooperating as a team together, and that gave them enough of an advantage in order to just like get really consistent clears with their own teams and even help out a couple other people. They even helped out us, but at the point where we were at in the night, there just wasn't enough time to get into that rhythm in order for the clears. And even today, when we are at like at least 2,000 power more with a lot more opportunities for resources, like there was the new light engrams, so people could get 2 guaranteed mythics from that. But even today, when I logged on about 3 hours after reset, there were still only 30 clears, and now there's 35, but very few people have still cleared this. And it's still probably really difficult. It'd probably be best for most people to wait at least one more day, but for anybody who was struggling last night or yesterday and got close but not quite, you could probably clear today just fine. So when it comes to the actual difficulty of the raid, or more specifically that encounter in particular, obviously the biggest factor has to do with power level. Most people who were going into it were 31k, 32k at most power, and if we take a look at the raid right here, Gauntlet Onslaught, 39k power, so that's like a 7 to 8k power difference, which is enormous. However, what I would say the largest problem, or the biggest difficulty increase, came from just how undergeared all of our units were at that point. That was the first day where we had access to mythic weapons, which mythic weapons provide a significant boost compared to legendary ones, and unless you saved your energy, you only had about 3 reward claims on that day if you wanted to spend your reward claims on the raid. And even the people who did spend their energy, like, it was a complete random chance of whether or not you'd earn a mythic. I was lucky enough to get a mythic AR for my Wolf and a mythic scout rifle and sniper rifle for Tan2, and I got a shotgun for Gwyn while we were playing the raid. But there were plenty of people that I saw and people that I played with who didn't get half as lucky as I did when it came to mythic drops, and they were struggling even more than I was. Beyond that, the artifact system, we still are so early into this that we can hardly squeeze any real meaningful power bonuses from it, especially when it comes to the perk level increases. And most characters were missing some significant parts of their kit. For instance, Tantu, one of the DPS one of the characters that was most important for DPS during the Sakis fight, he's missing one of his most important parts to his weapon mastery, level 4, which allows him to extend his phosphorus. Without that, you would have to get ability refreshes or change up your rotation a lot in order to get more uptime on phosphorus, and you'd have to save up a lot of your flare between your abilities. It also limited a lot of his capabilities in dealing damage to the Shinkas or dealing more consistent damage to the Shinkas, and that was a big issue for more people, probably the biggest issue for most people, surprisingly enough. I thought the damage was going to be a much bigger problem, and that might have been the case for other regions, which seem to have been a lot less prepared compared to North America, and especially Insomnia. I mean, Asia took like 12 hours to clear, and meanwhile Insomnia cleared in like 3 or 4, 2 maybe. But this is just one factor right here. Or Gwyn doesn't have as much sustain because her Void Spirits aren't going to be able to give her Overshield unless you use an artifact. And even that, again, it's going to be lower power. She also doesn't have her own extensions for her weapon mastery damage increases. But beyond the character kits just missing certain parts of them, because we weren't high enough level to unlock them, the exotics were probably the biggest deal. If we take a look at all of the characters who we were even suggested to be brought into the raid, so that's Wolf, Tantu, Gwyn, and also Yolder, and also Caber to some extent, but all those units, only Wolf, Gwyn, and Caber has access to an exotic. And Caber was literally only recommended because he's good with defense and has access to this exotic, okay? If Caber did not have this exotic, Caber would not have been even considered at all. Or if there was another pulse rifle user who, I mean, let's say Tantu used the pulse, Caber would not have even been in the equation. And that's really just that's really just going over the huge difference that an exotic would make over not having an exotic. And while Wolf was really, really good in the first 2 encounters, he really only had a niche in the 3rd encounter for nuking Shinkas, and that also makes your team comp tighter, because if you're running a Wolf over another Gwyn or another Tantu, then you're probably going to have more trouble actually stunning some of the impact Shinkas, which got buffed in the global release, because in the beta, the impact Shinkas did not have that effect where standing in the bubble would deal damage to you. So the impact Shinkas are definitely the worst ones to deal with from here on out, and that's definitely going to make Yolder, Gwyn, and Xuanwei a lot more necessary in this new sandbox. But it's like I was talking about in my preparation video prior to this specific day 1 raid is not going to be like that important. Again, a lot of clears or a lot of viability in your ability to clear will have been dependent on if you got lucky with a mythic drop, or even if you got lucky with an exotic drop. I mean, one of our buds, Automaton, got the raid shotgun, and that was helping us a lot until he unfortunately had to leave about halfway through our attempts. And if you take a look at some other teams who cleared, I mean, Sweatsicle, he put out a video I think last night with all of his clears. Also, hi Ryan, welcome to the video. And he was using the raid shotgun, and it was just messing stuff up because it's literally just shotgun Izanagi's. If somebody got Izanagi's from a raid drop from that exotic, like that would have just cleared. Okay, that would have just cleared damage. You could have easily ran like 1 Tantu or easily only 2 Tantus and had plenty enough DPS. The hard mode raid is going to be coming in season 1, and it's going to have brand new mechanics, so people who played the beta, like Insomnia and to a lesser extent us, I suppose, are not going to have nearly as much of an advantage. People are going to have plenty more time to get acclimated to the game, to learn more about the game, and to actually gear their characters. So obviously, having the best knowledge to prep for that is going to be very important. So subscribe and stay tuned for more guides upcoming. And I also just want to say congratulations to everybody who did get the day 1 clear. And That's all I really have to say for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I would love to hear about your experiences in the day one raid if you participated in the comments below, or you can also tell me about it in my Discord server, linked in the description. I had an absolute blast streaming yesterday, and I can't wait to keep making more content about this game, keep making more guides for you all. So stay humble, everybody, and I will see you all next time.